Today I'm going to take you with me on a day in the trades as we replace the door seals on this industrial Milnor washing machine. So let's get to it. Stopping by to work on one of these Milnor washing machines. It's a big old industrial machine, hundreds of thousands of pounds go through it each and every year. You're talking about corrosive chemicals, well water going into it, the exterior's made from cast iron, high-speed extract. There's all kinds of moving parts on these machines and all kinds of repairs that need to be maintained. One of the repairs is absolutely essential to the function of this machine is the door seals and the airbags. You see, it's got two different sides on these particular machines. One side's the soil side, the other side's the clean side. Basically dirty and sanitary sides. These are actually meant to be built in between the wall. That way you can separate your clean room from your dirty room. In these small businesses like this one, they really don't care about that. They do whatever they got to do to make money. Plus, if you're not a big business, you're not technically subject to follow all the federal regulations that they got out here for everybody else. Believe me, on day one, if OSHA was to walk into this place, they would be giving training courses for generations to come on shit you shouldn't do. But if they're going to pay me, I don't care. I'm there to do a job. It's just that simple. These are big, heavy-duty cast iron doors. They're clearly rusted all to pieces, which is part of the problem as to why they're not working the way they should. But unless the company wants to shell out a ton of money to get one of these doors replaced, we're going to have to make the repairs to it every time those repairs need made. Open up the door on these, shut the air down, take apart the locking cylinder, take apart the Milnor faceplate, remove the air line, and start taking this thing apart one bolt at a time. This thing is made in layers. You got a stainless steel plate that's on the outside, big old piece of rubber and some foam on the back side of that, big heavy duty cast iron steel plate on the back side of that, then you got the air balloon on the back side of that. Essentially it looks like a tire that you put inside of a bicycle that's sewn inside of a nice little blue bag. That's what the airline hooks up to, and anytime this thing's got air on it from one of these solenoids letting the washer know that it's starting to fill up with water, air goes into the tube, pushes up against that plate, seals it up against the washing machine itself. That is supposed to prevent any water from escaping. And those steel plates are made a specific way on each side. There's one for the soil side, one for the clean. You can't mix match one or the other. You got a bolt smack dab in the middle of those steel plates plus two studs that stick out of it. It's supposed to have a little bit of wiggle to it. That way, of course, you can adjust the door tension itself. Plus, you can adjust the amount of air pressure that goes into the airbag. Got all kinds of stainless steel fasteners that go all the way around this steel plate. Basically runs through the steel plate, the rubber gasket, and the stainless steel plate all at one time. That way it keeps everything nice and secure. Today we're taking all that stuff apart because we're going to be replacing that rusted out and corroded piece of steel on the back. Also putting a brand new gasket, stainless steel fasteners, and a new airbag on it to get this thing like new again. The steel plate that we were replacing today was on the clean side. I laid it down on top of the tool cart, laid the brand new rubber gasket on top of it, made sure all the bolt holes lined up, placed a stainless steel plate on top of that, and then put in the brand new stainless steel fasteners. That's whenever I broke out my new 12-volt Dewalt impact driver, which helped make quick work of running those fasteners in. I got all that done. I lined it all up inside the hole, slid it in there, tightened up all the fasteners that I needed to tighten up, made sure the airbag was in place properly. Then I started reassembling the cylinder, the plunger, the airlines, the whole 9 yards, and bada boom, bada bing. This thing was ready to seal that washer up tight again.
You know something? If you got one person doing a one-man job and you got bare hand tools, it's still going to take that person a while to get that job done. You can enhance how fast they get that job done by the right tools. If you got one person doing 2 or 3 men's jobs without no other help at all, and they're not getting paid like 2 or 3 men do, you know what? Tools still make up the whole difference in the world, because you turn a 3-hour-long job into, you know, a 2 or 3 minute job, depending on how fast and how efficient you can get that job done.
There's no doubt there's a lot of stuff I could say about this one particular company. I've done a lot of work for them over the years, and I've known a lot of people who have worked with or for them. That's something we'll discuss at a later date and time. As far as today's video goes, we're going to discuss a few more repairs that I've done while I was there on site. These machines that I'm working on is well over 3 decades old. They've had the bare minimum done to them whenever it comes to maintenance repair. The machine is just like anything else. If you do not maintain the machine and you don't do it properly, it is going to break down sooner rather than later. It's essential that if you got a machine that makes you money, that your business depends on to survive, then you should take the maintenance of that machine seriously. You should have routine preventative maintenance check. You should be making the proper repairs with the accurate parts anytime that you're servicing these machines. If you go along just barely fixing them up along the way, helping them limp through another week's worth of work, eventually patching up the machine 5 or 10 times is going to lead to 15 or 20 different problems that 5 or 6 year machines are going to have at any given time. It could lead to catastrophic failure. Whenever it leads to catastrophic failure, you're risking the odds that that machine is going to be broken down for an entire day. It's going to cost you a bunch of money production-wise. On top of that, you got the machine next to it or 3 or 4 more in the factory that's going to break down all at the exact same time, and you're going to be stretching thin the amount of people you can have in there working on these things. On top of the fact that you got OSHA violations all over the place. They're in unsafe, unsanitary work conditions. These types of things are going to add up to a point where it's going to cost you more money in the end than what you're willing to spend on something in the beginning. Companies like this is exactly why I offer consultation. Go out here and look over things, I inspect things, I give recommendations, I train people, whatever it takes to help get the job done. Enough rambling on about that sort of stuff. Let's go ahead and get into some of these repairs that I've done done while I was there. First things first on the list, they got a ton of different presses all over the place because this is a commercial industrial laundry and dry cleaning facility. A lot of these machines, just like any other machine of its kind, is going to run off of solenoids, air valves, sensors, things like that. One of these Unipress machines that they got, in order for them to get an actual certified technician to come up and work on their stuff, they're going to be calling down to Tampa, Florida and getting Unipress to send them somebody. The amount of money that they're going to spend on that, they could easily call somebody else in the area to come work on these things. Unfortunately, it's going to be a 3 or 4 hour drive away, and they're going to be paying $800 an hour to get them down here. That's where people like me, someone who is well versed in these sort of repairs, can come out, give a look at whatever it is that they got going on and try to get them fixed up for the day. I took my Michael Pro ratchet and wrenches and I went to work on this thing, taking it apart. It did have a few air gauges that need to be replaced, along with some air valve solenoids. The valves on the side of this machine, you take these things apart, they're going to have a diaphragm inside of them. If you got something wrong with your air compressor, got a bunch of water in your lines, your cooling system's not working properly, your chiller's not working properly, they're going to cause a bunch of water and condensation to get in places that they should not be in. So I took these things apart, rebuilt them, along with some other things on this machine, and got it running again. And I had to take a break, of course, because Thanksgiving was right around the corner, and you can't have Thanksgiving without a big fat turkey to go with it. After Turkey Day, it was right back to working those Milnor washing machines because they had broke down again. Said these machines are 3 decades old, they're old as the hills, they're outdated, they're rusted, they've seen a lot of use and abuse on a daily basis. Even though they got a lot of moving parts, a lot of people don't consider the non-moving parts that are just as important as the moving parts, and by that I'm talking about the electrical system. These things are 3-phase machines, which means you've got contactors, relays, circuit boards, wiring, the whole 9 yards. On top of that, they're on a washing machine, which means they're going to be exposed to condensation, moisture, water. Whenever these things go into extract, they're going upwards of 100 miles an hour in a circle, so they're going to have to take an impact. On top of the machine, you got a dump motor, a wash motor, gear reducer, jack shaft bearing, plus the high and low speed extract motors. They were working one day and this thing went into extract. Next thing you know, they smelt burning rubber, they seen smoke all over the place, and the machine wouldn't come on whatsoever. I climbed on top of this machine and instantaneously discovered what the problem was. Not only did they have a wiring issue with one of their motors because the cover plate itself had broke off from rust and corrosion, wires were cut so short on that thing I barely did get it up and running again without having to replace the entire motor. Then I made my way over to the high-speed extract motor, the most expensive motor on this machine. I pulled the cover off of it and you could clearly see where the wire nut had fell off and it had arced up against the cover itself. Took my Dewalt, I pulled the cover plate off there, bought me a brand new Weller soldering gun and soldered this thing back together again and got them up and running for another few weeks. During that time I did give them some options and I told them exactly what I recommended, which was to take this thing off here and go have it rewired the proper way. Otherwise, I said it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and have a backup motor on site because you have several of these machines and not just one. You depend on machines like this because it's what you make money with, and we'll bet you should invest in what you got. But they didn't do that in this situation. Next thing I know, they're calling me back up with the exact same problem that they did the first time. Unfortunately, whenever I climbed back up on top of the machine, I pulled the cover plate off and looked at the motor. It was burned so bad that you could not recognize the numbers on any of the wiring. I don't know about you, but I'm not someone who likes to just climb into a job and say I'm going to guess where these wires go and hope for the best, because then the company's going to hold you responsible. Can't accurately figure out where these wires go and hook them up the way they're supposed to be hooked up. I'm not going to do it. There's simply too many things that could go wrong. You can hook up something the wrong way, and next thing you know, not only do you burn 1 or 2 motors up, you can burn up the circuit board, the contactors, the relays, and all these things are going to cost you quite a bit of money. 2 relays for this particular machine is $300 or $400 a pop. Not counting the circuit boards, contactors, and all the other bells and whistles that go with it. I did get things hooked up to the best of my ability, and then I recommended exactly who they should contact and what they should do, which was to pull this motor off this thing, get it rewound. Didn't want to do that. The only other option that they had was to buy a brand new motor to put in its place. Something that I already told them prior to this event happening. There was several more repairs that I made for this company, but I'm not going to get into that here today. If you want to see more content like this, all you got to do is check out some of those videos linked in the description box below. Pop the clutch on that subscribe button, follow on all these social media platforms, and then get to doing that blue collar hustle.